Hey, is this a real giant frog trying to crawl up somebody's front door? Or is this just some kind of big fat froggy fake trying to trick us? I've got the answer to that croaking mystery, plus answers on some other things that you guys are very curious about. Like this picture that claims to show a house completely covered in ice. A picture that wants us to believe this hog has a bunch of tusks coming out of its face. And this picture that claims this hand with only 3 fingers is the real deal. Hey guys, Bill here. You know, giants have always been a big topic here at Real or Fake. Like, how about the world's biggest Megalodon tube? Or the biggest man? The biggest dog? Or even the biggest crab? But here's one I haven't seen yet. World's biggest frog. The picture was sent in by Norviel Manzano Chu, who just wrote, "Is that for real? Or just another BFF, as in big fat frog fake?" Well, Manzano, that definitely looks like a record holder if it's real. So what do you say we take a closer look? Taking a closer look at the picture, we can estimate this creature must be about 2 feet tall or almost a ½ meter, judging by the size of the door. Now, we don't know where the house is actually located, so for the time being, we'll just have to focus on the creature itself. First off, from this angle, it's hard to tell if it's a frog or a toad. But if it is a frog, then it has to be what is known as a Goliath frog. If it's a toad, then it has to be a cane toad.
That's marvelous.
Goliath frogs are actually the biggest of the two. They have been described as being as big as a house cat. They live mostly in West Africa. On the other hand, cane toads are the biggest toad in the world. They come from Central and South America, but have been introduced into places like Australia as well. And if you ask me, that kind of looks like an Australian house. I don't know. I mean, this one is a little bit tough if you ask me, because on the one hand, I could see how somebody could use their Photoshop to just paste this creature in there and then blow it up to make it look bigger than it really is. But on the other hand, you know, when it comes to Mother Nature, I always kind of like, don't be surprised if it's real, you know what I mean? So here's how I want you to vote today. If you think that's a real frog trying to get into a real house, then you just vote real. If on the other hand you think it's a fake frog or whatever, vote fake. And then if you don't think we know what we're talking about, then I want you to vote unknown. You ready? And go. All right, did you get your votes in? I mean, or did you leave a comment down in the old comment section, or did you just shout it out? Okay, well, regardless of what you did, right here is the official answer. And we are gonna find out who's right and who's wrong without any further interruptions. Except for, no, just kidding. Oh, wow. Well, if you voted fake, you are right. It is fake. Thanks to a whole bunch of my peeps on Facebook, we now know that yes, the frog is real, but the house is not real. It's just a dollhouse. That's why the frog looks so big. Notice the chair here and the lamp here. I mean, we're talking dollhouse, right? So what's going on here? I don't know. Maybe the frog was just trying to see if Ken and Barbie were at home. Next up is this odd picture of a house completely covered in ice. It was sent in by Damien Boscarden, who wrote, "Could it be real?" Damien, with all the climate stuff that's going on around the planet these days, I think we have to just expect some really weird weather events. But on the other hand, you know, I've got a few questions about this picture. Looking closer at the picture, this house looks more like someone covered it with cake icing than real ice. The texture of the icicles is very soft. And that is making me kind of suspicious about this thing, especially when you add to the fact this little thing I noticed. If you look closely over here, you see there's another house, and that one, strangely enough, is not covered in ice. Okay, I did come up with one theory on that, and that is maybe what we're looking at is a prank here. Like, you know, maybe somebody was out of town and their friends came over, or somebody they don't even know, decided to spray the house down with water just as the temperature went into freezing. And then, of course, when the people came home, it was like, oh my God, what happened to my house? I mean, that could be one explanation. So, tell you what, I think it's now time for you to let me know what you're thinking. And if you are thinking that this house, that ice on there is real, whether somebody sprayed a hose on it or whether Mother Nature had some kind of freak event, then I want you to vote real, okay? Now, another way to go is just leave me your comments down in the comment section or just shout it out. I am gonna get out this and we are gonna find out the cold, hard truth, which is, well, you know, I kind of figured as much. It's totally real. Senior researcher Atlas Leader was the one who came up with the smoking gun on this one. According to an article on petapixel.com, the house is located in Webster, New York, and sits just 20 feet from the shores of Lake Ontario. It was covered in ice from a winter storm that came in off the lake. The picture was taken by John Cucko, who is a newscaster and photographer from the area. John has been accused of hosing down the house to get this effect, but he swears it's completely natural and this is exactly how he found it. Now, why this house got covered and others did not is still a bit of a mystery, but one theory is that the house covered in ice is actually a summer house and not occupied in the winter. The other homes are occupied and cleared of ice by the owners. Makes sense, right?
Say what?
Layla Tittle sent in this crazy looking picture and wrote, "This has to be fake, right?" Well, Layla, the only thing I know for sure right now about this creature is if I ever ran across it somewhere out in the wild, I would definitely go the other way, if you know what I mean. On closer inspection, I would say this is a pig or a hog of some kind. It's got the typical pig-like face with small ears and a big long nose. But those horns? I don't know. Not only are they really dirty, but they look really out of place too. Like somebody took them from another animal and just pasted them onto this one. I mean, why would a pig need that kind of stuff coming out of his face? I mean, for what? I mean, aren't most pigs just like these kind of like things that play around in the mud on a farm and they don't have very many predators other than us, of course. That ham sandwich I had last week was good. But you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, it doesn't really add up unless this is some kind of weird, wild animal that, you know, lives in some strange part of the world. So, tell you what, why don't you tell me what you think by voting up here? Leave me a comment down there or just shouting it out. We will get to this and we will find out if this is something that may live in a forest near you. Let's hope not. And the official answer is, wow, this is kind of surprising. That creature is 100%, without any doubts, real. Brian Chapman was the man with the answer on this one. It's called a babirusa, or also known as a deer pig. They live in Indonesia and are said to prefer to be in the rainforest or along the riverbanks. According to Wikipedia, the big horns or tusks are usually used in fighting. The upper tusks are for defense, while the lower tusks are used as offensive weapons. But here's the really weird thing I learned about these tusks, and that is that they continue to grow kind of like circular like that during the animal's entire life. And if it doesn't actually wear those tusks down through, you know, whatever, fighting or rubbing them against something, that the things will keep growing and actually penetrate that animal's skull. I'd be like, you know, looking in the mirror every day going, do you think it's getting closer to my skin here? You know, get my file out. Our last picture today is this oddity. It was sent in by Kush Patil, who wants to know, is this photo of someone's hand real or fake? Kush, I gotta tell you, you know, we see a lot of fake pictures, you know, in this same genre that come in day and day out. like this shot of someone claiming to have 11 fingers on each hand. Or how about this one, a muscle builder with 4 arms, like as in super fake. But as far as this one goes, I mean, it's kind of hard to be sure. A little closer look shows us a hand that looks normal in every way except there are just 3 digits. Now the weird thing about this picture is we see this hand and it's missing a bunch of fingers, and it was taken using a cutting board as a backdrop. Now, I don't know whether that's supposed to be symbolic or not, but it must have something to do with something. But anyway, you know what? I think it's time for you to go ahead and let me know what your vote is right up here. Your answer is down there, or shouting it out in a room full of people. And I'm going to get to this right away to let you know that, once again, we have something here that is real. Emanuel Stoica was the one who solved this mystery. The hand, it turns out, belongs to a YouTuber who has a channel named Amanda Strangehand. There you can watch a few videos that show what it's like to live with one normal hand and one with only 3 fingers. Amanda has an Instagram where you can see even more uses of that strange hand. I'll leave a link for both in the description box. And now for my favorite fake of the week, which happens to be this picture. It was sent in by Little Home King, who wants to know if this picture proves that Steve Jobs, you know, the guy that created Apple computers, is alive and well in Brazil. Home King, the only thing this picture proves is how bad some people are at Photoshop. I mean, look at Steve Jobs' head. It's not even pasted on straight. But hey, look in the background there. That could be Michael Jackson. Maybe he's alive too.